Most of us are taught a specific sequence for success: get good grades, find a stable job, and save as much as possible. This is the universally accepted formula for building a wealthy life. But following this path means your income is tied entirely to your time. When you rely on a static paycheck and a standard retirement plan, you aren't building a fortune. You're participating in a cycle of trading hours for dollars. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, began to question this cycle after observing two very different approaches to life. His realization didn't come from a textbook, but from comparing the philosophies of two father figures. He realized that the route society labels as safe often results in a life of persistent financial struggle, regardless of how hard a person works. His biological father, Poor Dad, was the model of academic success. He held a PhD and maintained a secure position as a government employee. Despite his credentials, Poor Dad often struggled. He viewed money with suspicion, believing that the love of it was the root of all evil, and frequently telling his son, "I can't afford it." In contrast, his friend's father, Rich Dad, never finished the 8th grade. Yet he focused on a different kind of education and eventually became one of the wealthiest men in Hawaii. Rich Dad believed that it was the lack of money that caused evil. To him, money wasn't a problem to be avoided, it was a tool to be utilized. Rich Dad's philosophy centered on a specific lesson. He argued that the wealthy should not spend their lives working for money, but rather they must make money work for them. He observed that many people work because they are afraid of being without money. This fear pushes them to accept low paychecks and long hours, rarely pausing to ask if there is a more efficient way to build a life. In this framework, a person's financial trajectory is shaped by their baseline mindset, whether they see the world through a lens of fear or a lens of opportunity. To teach Robert the reality of the employee mindset, Rich Dad offered him a job doing manual labor for just 10 cents an hour, an intentionally insulting wage. Robert was absolutely furious, but Rich Dad explained that the intense anger he felt was a necessary teacher. He wanted the boy to feel the sting of working for a pittance. He warned that if you agree to work strictly for a paycheck, you are essentially agreeing to be trapped in that cycle for the rest of your life. The goal was to force Robert to look past the immediate reward of a wage and begin identifying unconventional opportunities that a salary could never provide. Chasing a higher salary is often a false solution. As income rises, lifestyle expenses and tax burdens typically follow, leaving the worker exactly where they started. Moving from struggle to wealth requires one specific concept, the actual definition of an asset. This diagram shows the mechanical difference. An asset is simply something that puts money into your pocket regularly, independent of your labor. In Rich Dad's view, this means focusing on businesses, stocks, and income-generating real estate. Conversely, a liability takes money out of your pocket. The middle class often falls into a trap by purchasing liabilities, like expensive cars or large houses with heavy loans, while under the impression that they are acquiring assets. Poverty and lifelong debt are often the result of this simple misunderstanding, getting the definitions of asset and liability completely backwards. This leads to the most challenging realization of all. Your job is not an asset. A job is a temporary solution to the permanent problem of your daily expenses. If you stop working, the income stops with you. Wealth shouldn't be measured in dollars, but in time.
If you stopped working today, exactly how many months could you survive on your current holdings? True wealth isn't just about survival. It is the freedom achieved when your assets generate enough income to outpace your expenses indefinitely.